Guys, welcome to Double Shot of Steelers, presented by the FanDuel Sportsbook. He's Chris Halleck. I'm Dejan Kovacevic. We're from DK Pittsburgh Sports. We're covering a coaching search, and there are, to some extent, results. There is a process, and we are now into the, I guess you could call it the second phase. They're not calling it that, but when you start bringing people in person, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I would definitely say that the initial phase has been done. They've not just performed several virtual interviews, but they've been officially announced by the team. Even the announcement from the team, from team spokesman Bert Loughton, that in-person interviews were going to be starting. So you kind of get that, okay, this is the next step. Now, 3 in-person interviews scheduled for this week: Brian Flores, Mike McCarthy, Anthony Weaver. Only Anthony Weaver is the second interview of the 3. So that kind of,
including his virtual interview.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like Anthony Weaver was part of that initial virtual interview group. Neither Flores or McCarthy was. So it's the first interviews for each of them. Yes, next step for sure. Of course, you're kind of waiting on the Rams too to see what happens.
Oh, I'm not kind of waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's why this is a slow burn. And that's probably the best way I'm going to describe this. I think people want to see results. You're going to have to wait. If you want this process to be done right, you're going to have to wait.
And you do. You're talking about something that, based on precedent, would affect your franchise really, really intensely for the next 2 decades.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a big, big deal. And waiting for the Rams. And by the way, the Steelers won't be the only team.
Oh, no.
That's going to wait for the Rams.
Not at all. I mean, the Browns have already submitted requests for the in-person interviews for a couple of other guys.
So what you have to do, the reason for this is that if the Rams win, you still can in-person interview those guys in that week. Between the championship, well, there's 2 weeks between the championship games and the Super Bowl. So that kind of, well, it's not a dead week for the coaches. I guarantee you it'll be an imposition. But they can all pick a day where they bounce all over the continent and do their interviews if needed. So,
but you can't hire them until after the Super Bowl.
And what are you going to do with them if you do hire them?
Yeah.
You can reach some kind of agreement.
Yeah, some sort of napkin agreement and be like, okay, if you're our next coach.
Good luck. Good luck. Go beat
whoever
it is that advances out of the AFC. Jarrett Stidham and the Denver Broncos.
Well, according to Nick Foles, I still can't get over that tweet.
He's the greatest.
That was the best tweet ever.
Nick Foles is everybody's shining beacon of backups for all time. Jonathan Sokol asks, please tell me that Mike McCarthy doesn't have a legitimate shot at being hired for head coach. If you get an interview, you get an in-person interview, you have a shot. I'm not saying that to get one reaction or the other.
They're not wasting time
out of you. Yeah. They don't have any cause to bring in McCarthy and say, hey, Mike, we just wanted to make sure we had a Pittsburgh guy in on this or something like that, or a familiar name, or that we didn't look like we were just bringing in young guys. Although they're well within their rights to do that.
Yeah.
McCarthy obviously has some significant achievements, including against the Steelers in his NFL career. He's got offensive pedigree galore. The only thing I would point out about McCarthy is that I don't get the sense that because McCarthy would come in and you'd go, oh, yeah, well, there's your way to get Aaron Rodgers back. The way Art Rooney worded what he did about Rodgers sure made it sound like we're good.
Yeah, I do get that feeling. I also don't get the feeling that it's the same thing that we saw that what happened 1 year earlier with Russell Wilson either, where it was just like, absolutely not. Like never in a million years, never are we bringing Russ back. While on the surface, they're like, yeah, we're going to, not burn the bridge and everything. But behind closed doors, it was like, yeah, no, he's not coming back. Listen, I wrote about it today. It's on our DK Pittsburgh Sports app. I went through the options that they have a quarterback, and I listed Aaron as one of them because I'm like, who else is out there? There's not. It's slim pickings right now.
It is. You can also make trades. You can also outdraft people.
You
we
can
say that all the time. Now
that was one of the options.
this class doesn't lend itself to much more beyond the young man, extraordinary young man.
Congratulations to Indiana, by the way.
From the Indiana Hoosiers. What a
great story.
Jeez.
Great story.
I mean,
for Kurt Signetti, for Fernando Mendoza, for that university, for everybody. Just phenomenal story. 16-0. It's crazy.
Well, no, I mean, given the history of the institution with football, it's beyond.
Yeah.
And I understand they paid people and whatever else here. Hey, the system is the system.
Everybody's paying people in college nowadays. You're not alone in that.
You're working within the system. And they did that. Danny Smith has taken the special teams job with the Buccaneers. We're also going to mention here off the top, I'm not going to be surprised by anybody that's taking a job anywhere else when the owner of the franchise says, you're all free to go.
Yeah.
He didn't say, hey, Danny, not you. You stay here. He didn't say that.
Yeah.
You're all free to go. That's how Arthur Smith was conducting an interview just yesterday to be somebody else's offensive coordinator. So I think it has not really sunk in with everybody. And I understand this because it's Pittsburgh and this happens like almost never. But when you fire the head coach, oh, wait, I'm sorry. Jeez, he wasn't fired. When you change the head coach,
right.
or the head coach resigns, to be completely specific, everybody goes. Every job is thrown up for grabs. Could some still stay? Could some of them still be around in the office when the new coach is hired? And then the Steelers say to him, hey, you can also interview these guys. They're right here in the building. They know the players. The players love them. Let's say, for example, and don't bite my head off for this one, but let's say, for example, that Andy Weidl, who's really tight with the offensive line guys, that's a big point of emphasis for him. And Weidl says to the new coach, hey, I'm not going to tell you who to pick here or whatever, but the offensive linemen have become pretty tight with Pat Meyer. And toward the end of the season, you started to see some really good results once Dylan Cook was in for Broderick Jones. Just a thought, you can go and interview him. If you have somebody else in mind, you're the coach.
Hey,
you see what I'm saying?
No, well, and then also you look for any potential ties between any of the candidates and the existing coaches.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Clay Kubiak and Pat Meyer have that. They have back at Colorado State. They have ties going back there. So I'm not saying that if Clay Kubiak is hired as the head coach, that Pat Meyer is definitely staying, but it's something you have to at least consider. I think the new coach will also consider, when you look at, for example, Jaylen Warren, who never tweets, responds to a tweet on Twitter talking about the coaching staff, any coaches that want to stay, and he just responds with Eddie Faulkner. And it's his first tweet in years.
It's just the first thing he said in any form.
Yeah.
Jalen's a really quiet dude.
Yeah.
The running backs, and this goes to Najee Harris as well, swear by Coach Faulkner.
He's a good coach. He's a really good coach.
And when you're talking about a position that's so pivotal, and remember, the coach can't come in. The new coach can't come in and say, these running backs are nice, but I want some different running backs.
Yeah.
You're going to have to inherit, some stuff. When you come in and you say, well, I want a logo on the other side of the helmet, you're not going to get one. There's some things that you have to just grin and bear it.
Yeah.
Not to say that inheriting Warren and Kenny Gainwell is a bad thing. Of course, they have to sign Gainwell.
But again, I mean, if they do re-sign Gainwell, they were the only running back duo.
They really
I'm
will.
just saying they were the only running back duo in the entire NFL who had, each of them had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. It's not like it's a bad combination that you have. Jaylen Warren has gotten to the point now where I'm like, I could only imagine what a Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay would do with him. Like he would be probably like a top 5 rusher in the NFL or something along those lines, playing in that kind of a system.
Jalen does special things.
He does.
This is one of my favorite points that toward the end of the season, you started hearing Aaron Rodgers really talk about what he saw in Jalen. And he would talk about just his natural talent. I think people like me and you who've been around him for a long time and remember undrafted Jalen coming onto the field in Latrobe and making everybody go, the heck is this?
It was a bowling ball. Gosh.
Right. But we'll think of him more for his drive and his determination. His talent is the point that Rodgers was making. Just a wonderful, wonderful football player.
Yeah.
But yes, if Jalen, see, there's certain positions, and this applies to all sports, where the players, they don't have a say. I saw Mr. CJ down there saying something like the players don't call the shots. They can when it comes to positional, okay? And to be specific here, or to give example maybe from other sports here, when the Penguins had some success with their goaltending last season, Andy Chiodo was the one guy who came back from the coaching staff. Why? Goaltending coach, special relationship. Paul Skeens didn't necessarily hit it off with the Pirates' previous pitching coach. Guess who has the say on that one? Why? It's just the coaching is done between the two of them, and as long as the performance is there, I think you're going to see Jalen and Kenny get their way. Now, Kenny can become twice as influential in the sense that, I mean, I would stay. I would stay. I don't know, man. Eddie Faulkner doesn't have a deal yet. That sure would help me make up my mind about this.
Well,
they love him.
Yeah, they really, really
and
do.
They should. He's not only is he really good at this, he stepped in as a coordinator, and with Mason Rudolph and those guys, and Mike Sullivan, who was the quarterback's coach at the time, got the Steelers into the playoffs.
Yeah, Mike Sullivan did the primarily the play calling on game day, but Eddie Faulkner was when you talk about what the offensive coordinator does throughout the week, Faulkner stepped in and did that. He did that job in terms of the game planning, putting everything together, organizing the call sheet, like how they're going to prioritize certain plays, certain concepts against whatever defense they were going to be attacking that week. He was doing all the things that you would normally have an offense coordinator would normally do. So no, he's a good football coach. If anything, I'm kind of surprised whenever the owner is saying, "Hey, you're free to go chase other jobs," that we haven't seen Faulkner pop up for any interviews anywhere, whether it be to take over as a run game coordinator somewhere else or something along those lines.
He did really good work, and he continues to do good work. And this is actually, Faulkner is a perfect example of somebody that you don't just
discard just because.
Yeah. Now, at the same time, when Rooney says you're free to go, he's making sure that they understand they're not locked down.
Yeah, of course.
By their contracts, you're free to, if you find something else that you like, we're not going to stop you.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily pointing to the doorway.
Saying get out of here.
It's just being fair. Exactly. The FanDuel Sportsbook doesn't close up just because the Steelers have folded. Let's take a look at some of the lines for this week's championship games, both of which, by the way, I got to tell you, listen, the Bo Nix thing hurts. Not just the Broncos, but it hurts the whole. Anytime you take a starting quarterback out of the mix,
and
the pageantry of the game and everything takes a hit.
Yeah, I mean, it did for to go back to the Nick Foles thing. It did for that Super Bowl,
but the Broncos, until it didn't.
Right.
The Broncos are not built on their offense.
No.
They're built on their defense. And I think that's how Sean Payton was able to run back to that press conference room. By the way, I couldn't help but picture the scene with everybody in the press box going, Coach Payton is available again in the press room.
Something's happening.
No? Extremely unusual. That was about a half hour or 35 minutes after his previous session. You go back and are like, Coach, what's going on?
Yeah.
But he handled it. Not to deviate here, but he handled it, I thought, beautifully.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to hide behind it. He wasn't going to act like it was a worry.
Mhm.
He wanted to stand in front of everybody and say that Jared Stidham can play football. We believe in him. He runs all these plays. Never mind that he hasn't thrown a pass in anger all season long.
Well, somebody who doesn't believe in Jarrett Stidham is Vegas, because
Let's hear it.
because the spread is, or the Patriots are favored by 5.5 points going to Denver, playing that Denver defense, and they're favored. The Patriots are favored by 5.5 points,
And in the altitude and all that other stuff.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I'd love to tell you what Denver's weather is going to be, but it changes every 5 minutes for
Yeah.
anybody who's ever been there.
Mhm.
This time of year, it's you could end up with 3 feet of snow, or it could be sunny and 65.
Yeah, seriously.
Not that the Patriots can't handle weather. I'm just saying that there's going to be a lot of Denver-ish.
Denver's not an easy place to go play. It's
Nope.
just not. And especially the later you get into the season, it becomes more difficult.
You don't buy their tickets either.
No.
I'll tell you that. They
Mhm.
are tough there.
Yeah.
As tough as any place
Mhm.
that we go on a regular basis. And the same was true when we went
Oh, yeah, last season. Yeah.
early last season. I believe it was week 2. And it
Yeah,
looked like the Broncos were going to be one of the worst teams in the world. Certainly had the worst
Seriously.
offense.
Seriously.
And place was packed. No
Mhm.
apologies, no asterisks, nothing.
Well, for those of you who want the Rams to lose so that the Steelers can continue on with their coaching search, Vegas has the Seahawks favored by 2.5 points in the NFC Championship. Now, the home team typically gets 3 points, so that kind of shows you that Vegas is respecting the Rams, respecting Matthew Stafford, respecting what that defense is doing. By the way, Chris Shula, one of the candidates, is the defensive coordinator for the Rams, doing a lot with the league's most inexpensive defense. So, I mean, yeah, I'm excited about both games. I think they're both going to be really good. And
Well, the place to go if you want to get in on the action yourself here in advance of the NFC Championship games is the FanDuel Sportsbook. That's where you go to check out all the latest odds, futures, whenever you're in season, the win totals, whatever your game happens to be, the FanDuel Sportsbook delivers, and you can join in on all the action. I had something here that I liked that I starred earlier. I'll find it for you here. Zach Hall says this young offensive line has me excited for the future. Is there any chance that the Steelers could go after we're not nowhere near the draft stuff?
yeah,
Much less the guard number 56 from Indiana at that level. I will say that in the general sense, Zach, I am now feeling so much better about this line, given the development of Dylan Cook.
oh yeah,
It feels like, and they'll tell you this in a weak moment, these guys, everything came together when he did. Everything came together when he went out there and took care of his matchups. They will not ever say anything, even if that might sound like it, negative about Broderick Jones. They love him. They believe in his heart that he wants to be a great NFL player. I believe in his heart that he wants to be that. I don't believe it's come close to occurring. And how many years has it been now? 3 full years?
3.
That's tough, man. Now, when you're talking about the young offensive line, of course, you're exempting Isaac Seumalo. Isaac started to show some wrinkles toward the end of the season, meaning the age wrinkles.
Yeah.
And there were some things in particular that happened in the Houston game that were not very flattering, but were very flattening.
Sam Waller wasn't alone in that.
He was not alone. Troy Fautun is going to want to take that film and
burn it
and light a bonfire out of every copy of it that exists everywhere. But Cook held his own.
Yeah.
He wasn't perfect.
No.
Mason McCormick held his own. Also wasn't perfect. Zach Frazier, perfect.
Zach Frazier's really good. He's really, really good.
He is really something.
Zach Frazier is really good.
But the line together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're really encouraged. You should be really encouraged by the development of that line. And I think because of that, maybe you don't just automatically kick Pat Meyer out the door for as unpopular as that. Again, I think a lot of people are just latching on to the lack of development with Broderick Jones and completely ignoring what Zach Frazier, Mason McCormick, and Troy Fautano have done.
Too.
They count too. As far as guard goes, it would not surprise me to see the Steelers address it in the draft. Remember, Mason McCormick was drafted while James Daniels and Isaac Seumalo were both under contract. Now, I believe the initial plan was let him learn for a year, watch James Daniels and Seumalo play, let James Daniels walk in free agency, then Mason McCormick can step in.
There was a line of ascension there.
But of course, James Daniels' Achilles exploded, and then you don't have a choice, and you throw Mason McCormick in, and he handles his own, and now he's become the just legitimate starter at right guard. So maybe you kind of trial by fire, or maybe you reunite with Seumalo for a year and go with that plan.
And this is DV says here, and this goes to what you're saying, Chris. Do we think that Broad could benefit from a new offensive line coach? You don't keep aligning the needs of the entire offensive line with just one player.
No.
If Coach Meyer, who has a terrific relationship with these guys, I saw some pretty emotional farewells over on that side of the room.
Oh, yes.
With those guys. They love Pat Meyer. They'll go through a wall for him. And if all you've been seeking all this time since the Marquise Pouncey group dissipated, and faded away, is consistency. And, you hear all the time about how, it takes years for this to develop. It takes a long time, whatever. And now you're going to pull the plug on the offensive line coach. I'm just saying, think about it. I'm not sitting here going to bat for him one way or the other. I am saying that to connect him, or to connect their fate to one player, yeah, it hurts to blow a first-round pick.
It does.
It hurts to blow multiple first-round picks right after you did it with Kenny Pickett. It hurts. It hurts the team for years. But that doesn't mean you hang on to those mistakes.
No.
Because that only compounds the scope of that mistake.
And then plus you're ignoring the development of a second-round pick, the development of a fourth-round pick, the development of another first-round pick that you have at the other tackle position. Like you again, it's not something that you just like the new head coach just comes in and you just automatically kick him out the door. Now the new head coach might already have another offensive line coach like in mind. He might already have like a certain guy like, listen, I want to coach this way.
Yeah.
And there's a specific way of coaching, the technique, the detail, whatever it is that I know that this coach can do. But just in a vacuum, you can't just kick Pat Meyer out the door.
Well, you can't do it with anybody.
Yeah.
And that's why, our guy Skunkworks is saying he just wants them all gone, and they loved Mike Tomlin too, DK and whatever. And I hear you. You want everything to be blown sky high. But at what benefit and at what cost? Okay, if these offensive linemen are getting better under this coach, and this coach became labeled by the failure
of one
player, then what does your little principle serve other than have like a one-day headline? They're all gone. We did it.
And then also, we haven't even talked about this.
Ryan, you want to throw out your running backs coach too? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying Ryan McCollum, who was a very serviceable backup center, was employed because of Pat Meyer.
Yeah.
Pat Meyer is the guy
Pat brought him.
That pounded the table to keep Ryan McCollum. And so again, he gets labeled because of the failure of one player, but you're ignoring the development of three others and then the place on the roster of another guy who was also a very serviceable, dare I say, good backup center in Ryan McCollum too. So
A fair point brought up here by William, who says that if Nate Scheelhaas or Chris Shula gets hired, do you think that Pat Freiermuth would come back? First off, let's be really, really plain here on this one. Pat wanted to play more. Mm-hmm. Pat kept his mouth shut, as I detailed for you the night that he and I had after the game in the locker room and the exchanges that were had between me and him, and how little he wanted to speak, because I'm sure he wouldn't have been able to control what it was that he said. Mm-hmm. Pat has never, ever suggested, even dropped a hint, that he would not want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. He is so into the being a Steeler thing, you have no idea.
Yeah.
It's an emotional, real thing for him. He has no wish to play somewhere else.
William actually meant Munchak, not Muth.
Oh. Well, he wrote much, so yeah. I thought it was M-U-T-H.
I thought it was that too.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, but even then, I again, that's just another.
Munchak's not. How long he's been out of coaching? We're holding on to. We're clinging the narratives here.
We really, really are. I understand where fans are coming from when it comes to not wanting Broderick Jones, like not wanting Broderick Jones to fail, but it's like you're wanting Broderick Jones to succeed so much that the angst doesn't go to Broderick for not playing well for over 3 years, that it's got to be somebody else's fault, that it's got to be the coach's fault. And sometimes just the player doesn't work out. That's just the way it goes. Now, Brod could go somewhere else and everything clicks for him somewhere else because that coach knows how to push Brod's buttons in a way Pat Meyer didn't. It happened with Kevin Dotson. Kevin Dotson wasn't terrible in Pittsburgh, but he goes to LA and becomes this phenomenal guard. I don't know.
Kyler says, Chris, you said earlier today on our site that there was a person somebody doing an in-person interview today on the South Side. Were you able to confirm that name?
No, but I do believe that name will be coming out at some point later today, if it hasn't already. I obviously not checking things while we're on the show right now, but that name will be coming out at some point for sure. But the three this week, and like I said, I didn't get what names on what days, but the three this week are Brian Flores, Mike McCarthy, and Anthony Weaver, at least initially. I don't know if they end up scheduling any more, but those are the three this week.
Yeah, Jeff says, bottom line, you can't paint the offensive line with a fail colored brush just because one guy can't get it together.
Even PFF liked the Steelers' offensive line.
8th in the league?
8th. They ranked them 8th out of 32. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, again, we've run out of people to shake our fists at.
Yeah.
So now it's just they all stink and throw them all out. And thankfully, that's not the way really any teams anywhere operate. You don't just push the plunger because you're mad. CT says that the Steelers are not the most attractive job at the moment. There's lots of different ways of looking at that. To me, the one that would be the quickest and easiest would be to say, well, Buffalo is because you have Josh Allen.
Or Baltimore because you have Lamar Jackson. Yeah. I'm just saying Lamar's
not Lamar anymore.
The way everybody views the quarterback position, those are your two.
Yeah, but Josh Allen, I would think.
I'm not arguing with you on that one.
But head coaches will not want to get into a situation where the previous head coach helped Brandon Beane get his job in Orchard Park. And then Beane comes along, and by every accounting right now that's coming out of Western New York, stabbed him in the back. And now has taken over all of the coaching mechanisms. He's now in charge of all this. Nobody's going to want that job. Nobody wants that job. Nobody of any worth is going to say, oh, yeah, we'll do that. Buffalo, you heard it here first. Buffalo is going to end up hiring internally, just because they're not going to be able to get somebody to work under that guy. That reputation, that goes, no matter how much or how little we talk about it in public, something like that rockets through the sports world, through the people who are actually in it, who work in it. The rest of it, Cleveland, You know, who wants the Cleveland job? When you're talking about Pittsburgh, you're offering the one thing that coaches want more than anything.
Security.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's all they work toward. It's all they focus on year round. All levels of coaches.
I was just going to paint it this way. Imagine you go, like you go into a job interview, and the person you're interviewing with is like, they offer you the job, or they're in the process of getting ready to offer you the job. And they say, listen, we're pretty much giving you tenure right off the bat. You're going to have the freedom to do what you need to do your job, and to give you the security of knowing that even if you fail for a year or 2 years or 3 years, that we're going to ride things out with you because we're going to believe in your long-term vision. Who the heck would turn that job down?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Who the heck would turn that job down? Like the Steelers will do that. That coach could
he doesn't have to be here 20 years for that point to stand.
No.
Like, you can still say, we are going to let you struggle.
Yes.
We're going to give you runway here. We're going to let you do what you need to do if it means waiting out on the quarterback. Now, you also heard Rooney say, well, he doesn't believe in rebuilds. Why would you throw away a season? There's lots of different ways to interpret that. Why would you say it's okay for your team to lose? That's tanking. That's not something you're ever going to see here. You know, where you're purposely throwing games so that you have a better shot at some quarterback that's coming up. But you got to do something.
Yeah.
You got to put up with something in order to get a young quarterback out there. Part of what New England had to do, and I keep citing New England for a reason, is because it didn't work right away.
No, it did not.
Okay. When they went through all their Mac Jones guys, they had to do it. They had to see what some of these players had, and they didn't all have something. Drake May comes along, they have something. Well, there they go. Just like that, they're the Patriots again. It's not that simple, but it's a huge, huge variable in this. And any head coach who's going to come in here and be aiming for a Super Bowl, and you shouldn't be aiming for anything else, is going to say, we've got to get this quarterback thing settled.
Yeah. Well, and the good thing is that Omar Khan, that's atop his priority list too. Now, they're not going to Kenny Pickett this thing. They're not going to go into the first round in April and say, no matter what's happening at 21st overall, we're taking a quarterback. We're just going to take the best one available. It's going to be Ty Simpson, no matter what we learn at the Senior Bowl. I don't remember if Ty's going to the Senior Bowl or not, but no matter what we learn throughout the entire draft process, at the combine, whatever, pro day, whatever, we're taking Ty Simpson because he's the second best quarterback available. That's not happening. So if they don't draft that quarterback, okay, that's our franchise quarterback. The second Roger Goodell announces his name, anything can happen. Like they could go into the season, they could sign Malik Willis, and then Malik just shows that he was just a product of Matt LaFleur, that he just only succeeded because of Matt LaFleur's system or whatever. And then you end up terrible in 2026. You go 5-12, you go 6-11, whatever it is. But then you're actually in position to do what the Patriots did.
Yes.
Then you're in position to do that because you still give yourself a chance. Okay, it didn't work. But now that's the great thing about the NFL, is that it doesn't have to take a million years or a long 3-4 year rebuild to get back on the horse and to become a contender again, because you tried. Like, for example, even think about what led to Ben Roethlisberger getting drafted. They had Cordell Stewart for a while. Okay. Then you went on to Tommy Maddox. Tommy had a great year, resurgent year, comeback player of the year. Didn't work out. Didn't have that repeat success. And they went 6-10 because of it. What happened with that 6-10 record? You capitalized on a great quarterback class and you drafted Ben Roethlisberger. Who says that can't happen in 2026?
Right.
Who says you can't, try to go with Mason Rudolph or Will Howard or whatever else?
Or they compete. Mason pushes him. You give Howard maybe the benefit of the doubt because he's the younger guy, and you try to get through a year like that. It maybe goes well. It maybe doesn't. But what you don't do, we have lots of time for draft stuff. But what you don't do is say, well, we got to take a quarterback. got to take a quarterback because you just got to keep adding
I'm fine with taking a swing. If you learn
first round,
not in the first round.
Okay,
not in the first round.
Didn't think so.
No. You'd have to learn quite a bit about a certain quarterback in this particular class, unless you can finagle your way to first or second overall and steal Fernando Mendoza from everybody else. You're most likely going to have to learn something of significance at a pro day or something along those lines when it comes to like their smarts, like how smart they are, how they break down the game, whatever it is, that where you're like, okay, that's our quarterback, something along those lines. Because otherwise, yeah, you're looking at a day 2 or early day 3 flyer. Maybe they like Drew Aller, even coming off the broken ankle. Maybe they like enough of what they saw with Garrett Nussmeier. Just LSU was a just a terrible thing last year. Whatever it is, I don't know. But again, whatever you do, if it doesn't work out in 26, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world or that this new coach sucks or anything along those lines. You can always reset for a potentially better class in 27.
Yeah, if we're talking first round here, Paulie says, please get a WR2. No, you get a WR1.
Yep.
When you're picking in the first round. You can have a 1A and a 1B. You can have a 1 for now and a 1 for later or whatever, but you're getting a WR1. If you already have Jamar Chase, you're going out and you're getting T. Higgins.
And this is a pretty good wide receiver class too.
And, you can see which way I'm already going with this one. That's not to say that that's any kind of lock or whatever, but this wide receiver thing has to stop.
Oh, it has to. Yeah.
It has to stop. And if you're going to give a real chance to a Will Howard or to Mason or to anybody that you bring in any form, you can't say just throw to Metcalf or bust. You can't do it. We're going to take a couple more here today from you guys here. Major headaches is please don't be bringing in Kyler Murray and Malik Willis. They're not going to do any of that.
I didn't even list Kyler Murray in my list of options, even though he's a potential trade. I actually think it's more likely that they would try to reacquire Justin Fields over Kyler Murray, to be completely honest.
Well, again, all of this is going to this kind of stuff does depend on the head coach.
Yes, it does.
Who the
It
head coach
really,
is.
really
So
does.
Anything that we're talking about is just we have no idea and can't. Why don't you trust in Howard, says Mr. Amapola. Let Howard start for 1 year and see what happens. Draft Drew Aller in the third round and keep trying. Aller's got some stuff to overcome.
He does. Aller had a really promising 2024 season, did a lot of things right.
And then very, very up and down start in Penn State's start. It's not just about the injury.
And then broke his ankle. I mean, there were some moments, and I watched every snap of those Penn State games. There were some moments where I'm like, that's the guy. And then there were some other moments where I'm like, when is he going to get over this? When is he going to get past this? When is he going to grow past? Like, again, it's you look at the frame, the body. Okay, ideal NFL size. You look at the arm. Holy crap, he can throw the ball. He can throw the ball and he can make multiple types of throws. Love the arm, but there's some processing stuff to overcome. There's just stuff to overcome for him. And then you have to compound that with the broken ankle that he sustained. And Frank says then he's not the guy. There are a lot of guys in college that didn't have it figured out that did figure it out in the NFL. And that's what coaching is about. That's why, there are, and I'm not talking, this is not just a Drew Aller thing. This is talking about all of the other quarterbacks that are available in this class. We're talking Ty Simpson here, who does not have the ideal body or arm, but for 9 games for Alabama was phenomenal. And then Oklahoma came in and broke him. And they just exposed him. And now he's got some more things to overcome. Like none of the other quarterback, even Fernando Mendoza has some things to overcome. But the one thing, and especially saw that national championship, you cannot question that dude's heart. That touchdown run he had.
Yeah, that's epic stuff.
My gosh.
I mean, I really thought they would have killed him by the last of those pinball hits. That was really, really, really something to see. And then the whole thing with his parents and his mom and everything. It's
so cool.
They're the storylines for something like that is just 3 through the roof. I thought I had a good one here. I'm going to see if I can.
While you find that, CT Pittman says, go back and watch Josh Allen when he played at Wyoming. He looks nothing like he does now.
He just continued to get polished. But a lot of Allen's polish, I'm going to say this, since I just brought it up a second ago, came because the Bills had those wide receiver weapons, multiple weapons, and they made him look good, but they also made him comfortable. They made him confident. He felt like he could throw to receivers who are NFL open versus college open. We watched because there were so many matchups, Steelers versus Bills. We watched Allen grow up.
Yes.
We watched him become a guy that was more of a running up the gut kind of quarterback to a pocket guy who can hurt you a bunch of different ways. Including the deep. He's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But yes, there are things that he learned how to do along the way at the NFL level. Yeah, we got a lot of people cutting up Drew Aller here, presumably angry Penn State fans or something,
or just Pitt fans that just hate anything that comes out of Penn State, whether it's good or bad. So yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of people that don't like Drew Aller.
Oh, here it was the one about Mike Tomlin staying quiet. I got to find it here. So I put the person up. Here it is from David. It says, why has Tomlin gone silent? I've seen, heard, and read different viewpoints about this. One of them being, well, shouldn't he have done a press conference of some kind? Okay, first off, that's up to him. When when you're not on the job anymore,
you're under no obligation to do it. Yeah.
No, nothing, right? Secondly, and I think this might harken back to those who are a little bit older and have the longer memories, that when Chuck Noll retired, or when Chuck Noll stepped down as Steelers coach, it was treated as more of a retirement. When Bill Cowher stepped down as the Steelers coach, it was treated not so much as a retirement. He was 59. Okay. But it was, end of an era, did this, whatever else here. Let's not pretend that this was some big, happy, amicable thing. It wasn't. And let's not pretend that he wouldn't have had some resentment based on some of the stuff that has kind of worked its way out, including from Kia Tomlin's message that she put out about something coaching tree.
Yeah, his coaching tree was not,
that there's some kind of resentment there, and that's going to take a while to heal. Is it going to heal? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Was it going to happen at a press or in the form of a press conference the morning after that kind of loss? No.
And it is a different situation than either Noll or Cowher. Yes, both stepped down, but I mean, you might remember the timing better than I do. I mean, when the Steelers,
actually, very little recollection.
Okay, I'll say. Well, I'm just trying to think. Like when the Steelers lost, or no, that they won that final game. I think in 2006, when that final game was done in Cincinnati, was it 14 hours later that that it was announced that Bill Cowher was stepping down or stepping away or resigning?
Don't remember.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. I was 19 years old, like so. I don't remember honestly. But I honestly don't feel like it was that quick. And this felt very, very quick. I mean, they had just lost at just after 11 p.m. And then it's middle of the day the next day, lunchtime. And he's gone. Tomlin's gone. It's not the same thing.
Yeah. By the way, I misspoke. I said Cowher was 59. I meant 49. I knew when he took the job at age 34, and he coached for 15 years. Guys, thanks so much for watching today. We appreciate you, and we will be back with another one of these tomorrow.